Hello, good afternoon. I am reading chapter 7 today. This is Livy's perspective. It's a long chapter, so I'm considering cutting it in half. It has two big settings, so I think we'll just do the first part now. And if you'll remember, Bob has run upstairs in his wet chicken costume and has hidden in the closet. Open the door already. You've been in there for 15 minutes. It's taken me 10 minutes of talking through the closet door to convince Bob to take off his soaking wet chicken suit and change into something dry. And now he won't come out. No. Come on. I try to turn the knob, but he must be holding it on the other side. No. Come on, Bob. Bob doesn't answer at first. Then he says, "You do not say please very often, do you?" And he sniffs. Old Livy did not say please either. He's right. I don't like to say please. I don't mind the polite please, like when you want someone to pass the mashed potatoes, but I don't like the begging kind of please. Please, I say. I am considering it, says Bob. Pretty please. How bad can it be? The door swings open, and there is Bob, arms crossed tightly over his narrow chest. He is wearing my old tutu. He looks smaller in the tutu than he did in the chicken suit. It's not so bad. At least both your feet are still attached, I say. It was this or a bathing suit, he says. I probably would have gone with the bathing suit. That tutu looks itchy. Maybe you could get me something else to wear when you go into town tonight. Bob's eyes shine. In Graham's soap operas, someone is always going into town to shop. I'll try, but it might be hard to get my mom to buy something in your size. He looks at me. One side of the tutu sticks up in a funny way, like it's been pressed up against the closet wall for the last 5 years. That plus Bob's dead serious look makes me want to hug him, but I don't. Suddenly, Bob smiles. Do you have time for a game of chess? You played chess? He nods. Your dad taught you, and then you taught me. A little wiggle in the back of my head tells me that he's right. I'll set up the board. Bob runs back to the closet. I've been practicing by myself. I mean, technically, it's always been me against Mr. Monkey, but I make all the moves for him. Who usually wins? He scratches his head. That's the other thing. We only have the white chess pieces, so we share them, and I always forget whose pieces are whose. I wish I could find the black ones. The black chess pieces? I say. I know where they are. You do? Bob jumps up a little, which is really cute because of the tutu. Don't just stand there. Go get them. When I get to the kitchen, Gran is standing by the window, reading a letter and frowning. You've been up in your room a lot, she says, switching to a smile. Everything all right? We're still making that cake tomorrow, right? Yes, everything is great. But do you know what those chess pieces are, the black ones you showed me yesterday? Of course I do. She drops the letter on the kitchen table, next to a ripped open white envelope, and I realize that Gran is reading the letter that the neighbor was twisting in his hands this morning. He looked miserable when he was holding it, and now that Gran has it, she looks kind of miserable too, even though she's still smiling at me. When Gran turns away, I tilt my head and read the words at the top of the page. Bank of Australia. Gran holds the net bag of chess pieces out to me. Do you remember trying to take these home last time you came? You had them all packed away in your backpack. Cutest thing. I did? She nods. Your mom found them at the last minute, and they've been sitting in my kitchen drawer ever since. I challenge you to a game, but I can't find the white ones. Upstairs, Bob is sitting cross-legged on the floor of my room with the chessboard in front of him. All the white pieces are resting on their squares, the important pieces in the back row, and the pawns lined up in the front of them. I start setting up my side of the board. Bob smiles at me and says, Just like the old times, you always have the black. It's lucky, I tell him. But chess is not about luck, Bob says. It's about recognizing the strength of the little guy. What are you talking about? He picks up a pawn and waves it at me. Everyone underestimates the little guy, but the pawn is the key to the game. I laugh. Where are you getting this stuff? His face grows serious. The pawn protects every other piece on the board, Bob says, even though it can't make as many different moves. And if you can get it to the other side of the board safely, it becomes a much more powerful piece, like a knight or a queen. Then he smiles, slides his first pawn down the center of the board from E2 to E4 and says, let's see what you've learned in 5 years. I move my own pawn out to C5 and watch his eyes get big when he realizes I'm doing the Sicilian defense. I grin. Game on, my not zombie friend. He beams. You are a much better opponent than Mr. Monkey. We've barely gotten started when I hear Mom calling up the stairs that it's time to go into town. Bob looks up. Don't forget, I need something to wear. I'll try, I say. Don't forget about me, he says. I won't, I tell him. Promise. Promise. He picks up a black pawn from the board and hands it to me. Put this in your pocket, he says. Why? I don't know why, but it's important. It is what you always did before. Bob, I was 5 before. I probably did a lot of things for no reason at all. Please, Bob says, just do it. Fine. I lean over and swipe the different black pawn from the board. No, Bob says, it has to be this one, the one with the chip at the bottom. He actually looks kind of worried, so I take this special pawn from him and stick it in the front pocket of my jeans. And then I give him a quick hug. Bob is a good hugger. His arms go around my middle and he looks at me with these eyes that remind me of Joni, our neighbor's German Shepherd back home. Sometimes when I'm sitting on my porch, Joni comes over and puts her chin on my knee and looks at me just like Bob is doing now. Mom calls her Lonely Joan. But I don't think Joan is lonely. I think she just has a way of knowing when a person needs cheering up. I pat the pocket with my chess piece in it. I'll be back soon, Bob. As soon as I can. Then I'll finish beating you at chess. So we're going to stop right there, and I'll read the second part a little bit later.